I've been using both S24 Ultra and iPhone 15 Pro Max as my main driver for the last 6 months. Both of them went through a similar battery life cycle and I was charging them daily. The question is, after 6 months, which one holds better? The reasons I'm doing this test is that at least 10 people commented on my last video when I compared these two phones, asking whether it is true that S24 Ultra battery is not as good as 6 months ago, because apparently this is what lots of tech reviewers reported. Theoretically, both of these phones should hold the same amount of battery even after 6 months and should degrade similarly. Generally speaking, a phone should not degrade more than 1 or 2% per month, but that's just in theory, and we won't know for sure until we check it in practice. I put both of the phones on 1000 nit and made sure they were on the same brightness using two different lux meters. The iPhone may look brighter from time to time for two reasons. For one, the Galaxy anti-reflective cover bounces light less, and for two, the S24 Ultra from my experience dims the screen faster compared to the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Also, I disconnected my WhatsApp from my Galaxy, NMS Teams, and other communication apps from the iPhone to make the test fair. They are also both connected to the same Google account and the same 5G network throughout the whole test. Both phones are charged to 100% in the beginning, and I'm also using a smartwatch to tracking the screen on time. The S24 Ultra is always on the left side, whereas the iPhone 15 Pro Max is on the right side. I started the test by playing YouTube Shorts. Both phones have a LTPO display, which means the refresh rate is variable, and this helps a lot when playing videos and leads to phones using less battery than usual. After the first hours of the test, the Galaxy decreased to 94%, while the iPhone to 96%. This is a typical calibration situation on both phones. I always feel iPhone takes a bit to go from 100 to 99, and it doesn't necessarily mean iPhone uses less power compared to the Galaxy. I continued the test for another 40 minutes, and by the 1 hour and 10 minutes mark, the Galaxy S24 Ultra was 2% behind the iPhone 15 Pro Max. I also read the battery temperature of both phones. The max temperature on the Galaxy was 34 degrees Celsius, which is 93 degrees Fahrenheit, and the iPhone 15 Pro Max was at 35 degrees Celsius, 1 degree hotter, which is 95 degrees Fahrenheit. By the way, it's summer here in Vienna, and the ambient temperature is already 30 degrees Celsius, which is 86 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's quite hot. I continued the test by playing YouTube videos. Both phones are using a 5G connection, and as I mentioned, they are on the same network. I also made sure both phones are running 720p resolution for the YouTube videos, and I'm playing my own playlist of phone comparisons. I ran this part of the test for about an hour, and the Galaxy cut off the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Now Galaxy S24 Ultra is at 83%, while the iPhone 15 Pro Max is around 82% battery left. The max temperature that I read on the iPhone is around 37 degrees Celsius, while on the Galaxy it is only 35.3 degrees Celsius, which means they have around a 2-degree difference. That's a great news for the Galaxy S24 Ultra, which means it is generating less heat compared to the iPhone 15 Pro Max, at least while playing YouTube Shorts or YouTube videos on 5G. Also, the battery is 1% ahead. So far, Galaxy is holding well, but you never know how things will turn out. For the third part of the test, I decided to push both of them a bit and did shoot a video using the selfie cam 4K and 60 frames per second. Just as a general note, don't shoot videos at 60 frames per second. 30 frames per second is completely fine, and usually 60 frames per second is only used when you want to make a slow motion video later, like if you are taking a video of a bird or your kid playing. After only 15 minutes, both phones completely dim the screen to protect the battery and also the internal parts of the screen, which means they got overheated. By the end of this part of the test, that lasted around 30 minutes, the iPhone 15 Pro Max got to around 43 degrees Celsius, while the S24 Ultra got to 45.5 degrees Celsius, which is 2 degrees hotter than the iPhone. This is exactly the reverse situations for the YouTube test. In general, I always feel my Galaxy is hotter when I take videos compared to the iPhone. And finally, I was able to measure it instead of just relying on my senses. Getting hot is never a good thing for a phone because it can degrade battery life. Now, both phones are around 72% battery left, and I'm going to move to the next part of the test, which is running the Antutu test. Both of them are quite hot, so the score that they are gonna get will be low, and I'm only doing this to put the phones in different situations. I know the benchmarks are not exactly the real life experience, but from my perspective, both Antutu and 3D benchmark do a great job to almost capture real life situation. By the end of it, both of them got to 62% battery life. Then I ran the extreme stress test on the 3D benchmark, which put the GPU of the phones on a stressful 20 minutes adventure. None of the phones folded in this competition, and both are at 55% battery life, which is impressive. By this stage, I started to believe that the Galaxy battery didn't actually degrade more than the iPhone, but you never know. Before I put the phones on standby mode and do the outdoor test, I should tell you that both the iPhone and S24 Ultra supports wireless charging. So you don't really need to stress about the battery life. I recommend getting a small Taurus power bank that is 5000 mAh and carrying it on your pocket. The power bank is tiny and as thick as few cards and is slightly bigger than a credit card. You can simply attach it to your iPhone 15 Pro Max and it holds well. If you want to carry it with your Galaxy S24 Ultra, you also need to get a MagSafe case, which again, I have been using a Taurus case for some time already, and I love the feel of it on my phone. You can easily attach a power bank to the back of Taurus case, and it won't fall off even if you shake the phone. I've been using Taurus accessories for half a year now, and I love the durability. I put the links in the description down below for the case and the power bank. Also, thanks Taurus for supporting the channel again. Without the help of companies like Taurus, I wouldn't be able to buy phones out of my own pocket to stay impartial in my reviews. I put the phones on standby mode and went to sleep, and after 8 hours the iPhone used 7% battery while the S24 Ultra used 8%. Usually they use less battery if you put them on Wi-Fi, and this was a bit of an extreme test for them. The standby is quite alright on both of them. By the time I decided to go for a few hours walk, the S24 Ultra was at 47% and the iPhone 15 Pro Max was at 49% battery left. I decided to track my walk with GPS. Also, when I'm outside, I'm going to take videos and pictures, but I'll make sure that I'm using both phones the same amount of time. I'm now getting back home and iPhone is actually 4% ahead. I have two theories. It could be that the battery on the Galaxy degrades over time more because of the heat issues that we've seen. It could be that iPhone is just better durability wise for battery. The second reason it could be that iPhone is better when you have application installed and there are not that many background activities going on, whereas like maybe Android is not that optimized. This can also explain it. But we still don't know whether iPhone is gonna win this battle or Galaxy, so let's see. By the time I got home, the Galaxy was at 19% and the iPhone 15 Pro Max was at 26% battery left. It was a bit strange for me that the Galaxy got behind so much. My main theory is that Galaxy is not that efficient when it comes to taking videos. There's a lot of empirical evidence too. For example, in this video, you've seen that the S24 Ultra got hotter than the iPhone when I was taking a video on my desk. And this often means the phone is using more power. When I was outside, I was vlogging a lot, and this could very well explain why the Galaxy got so behind the iPhone. To finish the battery test, I ran the Antutu test once more. By the end of it, the iPhone 15 Pro Max was at 18%, while the Galaxy S24 Ultra was at 10%. While you are watching the final result, I should say take this test with a grain of salt. I'm a scientist, as some of you already know, and I teach user research and A/B testing at university. The thing about A/B testing is that you should control almost all variables and only one of them should be tested. But here it's really difficult to keep all variables similar. For example, what if I actually used the S24 Ultra more in the last 6 months, since it was my personal phone and iPhone is my work phone? It could have an effect. Or maybe the last update from the Galaxy did something that decreased the battery slightly, and many other factors that are extremely difficult to control. I can only tell the empirical evidence and reports from other folks kind of show Android is not holding as great an iOS battery-wise, but it's only an observation and it's hard to quantify. I can also give you some tips on how to extend your battery health long term. For one, don't let your phone go below 20%. It's a good practice to not let it go to 100% also. Don't drain it to zero ever. And new batteries like to be topped up instead of going to a full charging cycle. Also, avoid extreme heat and extreme cold because they are silent killers of your battery health. If you like this video, don't forget to like the video. And also please consider subscribing to the channel. It helps the channel growth tremendously. For the last part of the test, I ran some YouTube videos at 720p. It is obvious at this point that the iPhone is going to hold better compared to the Galaxy. The Galaxy is not doing great at all, especially in this last 10% and dropping really fast. The iPhone is still above 13% and it seems like the Galaxy is not holding it anymore. Finally, at 5 hours and 40 minutes of heavy testing with 2 hours of GPS tracking, lots of standby, and 4K 60 frames per second recording, the Galaxy left the chat. The iPhone 15 Pro Max held quite well and it died at 6 hours and 12 minutes, which is much better than the Galaxy S24 Ultra. Honestly, I'm as surprised as you are about this test result. Until the last few hours, they were shoulder to shoulder. It does appear to me that the combination of GPS and 60 frames per second 4K recording made the Galaxy fall behind significantly. While on casual testing like YouTube Shorts, the Galaxy performed better both battery-wise and thermally. If you like this video, you can watch the long-term review of both phones that I made and is popping up on the screen right now. Thanks for tuning into Tech Mo, and I will see you in the next one.